the circle.
Look for Nat Nui to be third man up.
We're ready to go at Subi. West Coast and St Kilda. Beautiful bounce by the umpire. Gardner did well. And West Coast through Nat Nui, the ruck rover. How about that? 6'8" of him. Gardner now, responding touch. Rafael Clark back into the side for St Kilda this week. Del Santo, they're going to need that experience. Blake's another experienced player for them, and an opportunity out wide here. Stanley, Reece Stanley in for his first game of senior football today.
McGinnity picking up Stephen Milne.
Hearn caught in the tackle, not sure whether he disposed of it legally. McQualter with a little pirouette and got it back to Stanley. This is his first touch in footy, and he really didn't have much idea what the wind was going to do with that ball.
Good early sign by St Kilda. Early pressure at the ball carrier there. Forced an indecision, and Shannon Hearn was looking to switch play, but they were well covered on the outer side. So good start by St Kilda.
Raf Clark on Lacroix. Big job for him.
Really good crowd in today. 34,000 here at the moment, expecting up to 38 today.
And the Saints keeping a couple of their backs in defence, not getting sucked up the ground.
Goddard with that wobbly new ball, Jared. I don't know whether you saw that come off the side of the boot for one of the best kicks in the competition. There's Blake. Up and under, as you can see, and Beau Waters the beneficiary of that. To centre half forward. Lynch pushed his man out of the way, but Clark beat him to the ball, and
good anticipation by Clark there. Came off his man and attacked the footy.
Montagna, great use of the body. Milne left it for the back lead, and Kazitsky's going to get the free. This is the vortex pocket. We spoke about it before the game. Get it in the air, and doesn't matter how far you're out, it'll get sucked towards the big sticks.
And he's the sort of kick that'll give you the elevation you talked about, both you and Jacko BT. He does tend to go very high and should get it up around goalpost height. In fact, both goalposts are shaking in the wind. It's a pretty strong wind here.
It is really difficult. Got the wind at his tail, though, so that'll help him. Kazitsky comes in, good-looking kick. What a kick that was hammered home. Justin Kazitsky, the first for the Saints.
Well, leading into that kick, Jared raised a valid point. Both goalposts were moving because of the strength of that wind. And Cozzy obviously assessed that, went back and drilled it. He didn't put it up there and let the ball come down, but as you can see, the post moving there. Silly free kick there by Schofield. But Eric McKenzie, should I say, got the hands in the back here. Just didn't need to do that. So that's a free kick. Well, one on a plate early for him, but good for his confidence, Cozzy. He's looking for a big game.
Great start for the 148-game veteran and Justin Kazitsky to get the first goal of the game. 6 for the year, 7 now.
Well, he doubled his goal-kicking output last week. He was 3 going into last week against the Bombers. He kicked 3. They didn't win, of course, but he's clearly got some confidence from it.
Perfect bounce from Ray Chamberlain, who got absolutely clobbered, and you could heard Ray in the effects mic there, and Goddard, I think, was the man that actually got pushed into Ray. That really hurt him. The kick down to Lynch in the meantime as Goddard recovers in the middle of the ground from crunching the umpire.
Yeah, Goddard has come off second best, but the other issue is that Nick Natanui is his second clearance from the centre bounce, and he's run straight off the ground.
Look at that, Jared, as he tried to hang on to Nick Natanui. He tried to split the middle of them, couldn't find a way through. Razor Ray.
Good vision by Dean Cox. Instead of going wide, saw a Quinton Lynch leading in the vision of the ball carrier. Good
I
kick.
love tough umpires like that, as Lynch was really horrible off the instep. And that wasn't great. As Goddard is coming off the ground as a result of that clash in the middle. I'm not sure whose fault it was, but Smithy, how does he look to you there?
He looks okay, BT. He's just a little bit stunned. Ran straight in the back of the head of big Razor Chamberlain, so he's just come off second best.
What was interesting on that replay was the fact that Goddard was more concerned about Natanui than the reverse.
Oh. Yep, absolutely. He's really hanging on. Dawson did well with a neat little punch out of trouble. Look at that for going and getting the ball. The Saints are certainly up and about here. And that'll be a boundary throw in deep in West Coast attacking zone. Happy with Goddard here in the umpire collision. You can see him hang on to Natanui.
Straight in the front cheek.
Now, it's Ray Chamberlain's right to go back. The umpires, it's the player's job to get out of the umpire's way when he's reversing back, so I reckon that might be a fine. Out of trouble here, Montagna. His second touch in this game already.
Slow last week to get into it, but once he did, he started to accumulate the possessions that got him in all the Australian Guernsey last year.
Lenny Hayes, the skipper. Here the umpire in the back.
That's two.
He's had a very good start.
He's going to have to readjust Eric McKenzie because he's going to. He's obviously 2 free kicks against him for hands in the back against Kazitsky. So he's going to just have to readjust, playing more from the side.
Little centering ball to Farron Ray. Fisher involved, back to Kazitsky. Nice kick. Really good opportunity set up here for Peake. He knows about this oval. Handball's off, and now anyone home for Saints, and Selwood able to soccer it through in the end.
Well, once again, I think it was Stanley that kicked the ball in. First game of footy, and he's had a couple of kicks. He'll be happy just to get a touch and get the nerves out. But pretty handy handball there from Brett Peake, because he was under enormous pressure, and it was an instinctive give to a bloke he hoped was there, and he was.
No Glass to kick in today, and you see the result from the Hearn kick. He tried to be too precise, and Montagne's got on the end of it. And I tell you what, he's not without a chance from this position.
Turned his back on play there, Tom Swift. Montagna had an uncontested mark.
Winds up on the arc, gets a bit of leverage on it. That's a wonderfully worked ball from right to left, and really gave that some thought. It's funny how players run around on that arc sometimes, just to get that bit more leverage on what they're doing.
Well, there's the wind. There's the flags, I should say. And we've got a really gusty wind here. You just saw it affect the Montagna kick.
25 knots southwest of Jared.
Been pretty wet here yesterday, Jacko, is that right?
Plenty of rain.
Ground is still in magnificent condition, and Hearn needs to address that kick out because he was very close to going over the line.
Nice and soft the ground too. You'd expect that with the rain, but always a beautifully presented Subiaco Oval. And a lot of talk about some of the grounds in the competition, whether they're too hard, but this is one that is never complained about.
Who's got the winning track record, Gardner or Cox, in the times they've been against each other, Jacko?
I think in recent times it'd be Dean Cox.
He's had a pretty good couple of years over the head of Kennedy. Blake now. Clark should have come in with a shepherd earlier. He left it and hesitated, Rafael Clark. And in the end, Josh Kennedy is going to be rewarded for the tackle.
It's been a big difference in the last couple of weeks, and in particular their wins. That forward pressure that's been lacking at the other end of the ground for the Saints. They'll want to address it, and the West Coast will want to keep it up.
Now he's told to play on here. He kicks the ball from out of bounds. That's not well thought out by Josh Kennedy in the end.
Told you to play on.
As we see the tackle again.
Free kick to the West Coast Eagles. Free kick to the West Coast Eagles, holding the man.
It's an interesting one because the ball actually didn't come back into play.
Let's have a listen to Ray Chamberlain here.
Mark Lacra's free kick, holding the man, does not have the football. The boundary umpire does.
There you go, Ray Chamberlain. Can't be any clearer or fairer than that. And that is live on the mics here, directly wired to the umpire, and as a result, Lacra will line up for goal. The sharpshooter for the West Coast Eagles, 18 goals for the year, 142 career goals in his 65th game. Little stuttery run up from right on 50, and he really leaned back and to the right on that. And that was not good.
And BT, I was just watching that stoppage. Raf Clark is just struggling with Lacra's speed at the moment.
Funny old start here. Del Santo. Geez, good kick. Milne. Long way up from his favourite area of the ground. He's looking for the switch. Has got a few out on that far side. Montagne's getting plenty of the ball for St Kilda early. Not in a real damaging position just yet. As we see Baker told to play on as he steps off the mark. And
looking for Zach up the middle.
Funny little kick from Gilbert there. And another turnover from St Kilda. Rosa tried to sneak it through. Did well. Del Santo. Peake.
It's one of the issues that's come under pressure for St Kilda since Goddard has been moved out of defence. Their kicking skills, getting the ball out of defence, has been really under the microscope.
And that should be a free, no contact. They must pay the effort these days. Here's Rosa. Natanui. Uppish handball. Embley, the most experienced player on the ground for West Coast.
They just need to settle here, West Coast. They've had a couple of inside 50s, but they're just trying to create something that's not there. Just be a bit patient with their forward entry.
Beautiful kick presented by Embley to the lead of Lynch.
Take two now. He had a shot here earlier on.
Well, it was about his drop last time. He discards the glove in customary fashion, but it's all about not dropping it on the inside of his boot. We see the beautiful kick from Embley.
You're going to see pretty average kicking here today, given the windy conditions. the moment the West Coast are operating just over 40 and St Kilda just on 50%.
Lynch comes in from beyond 50. That is absolutely fantastic. Has it got the journey covered? It has. Lynch with his first.
And there's no excuses from probably that distance, Jacko, given that there is that protection from the big grandstand. The first one was just a dud drop, but this one he really did concentrate hard on, got the drop exactly right, and as you saw, hardly affected by the wind at all.
And good work up the ground by Nat Nui, where St Kilda are looking on their way. Michael Gardner got tackled in the middle of the ground. He just humped the contest and was able to create an option going forward. And Quentin Lynch, a couple of good leads.
Oh, the big cue stick, getting away to a good start with a goal. He's enjoying his own work there in the goal square, and why not? It was a thumping kick. Right on line.
Rosa in the middle of the ground. He's running with Nick Del Santo.
Nat Nui with the tap this time. Does it easily. Tried to get it to Selwood. Hayes just tough over the ball to Del Santo. Ray pushed out of the way. There's Adam Selwood getting the free.
Let him up, play on.
Prittis, his first real touch of the ball. Butler also. It's a low kick, and Montagna did well to cut it off. So St Kilda under a bit of pressure here. Gilbert just got the handball away. Was it of the legal variety? Umpire said yes, and now Hayes getting a bit of an escort up the ground. Plenty of Saints players. Kick needs to be good. Stanley was there, couldn't control it. Mackenzie's kick. Fans liven up because they like it. They see the loose man ahead, and Waters. Boundary line. Centering kick. Lynch has got the body position. Should mark. Went straight through his hands. Oh, no. He had that covered from every angle. Naqualta. Peak.
I think still see Steve Silvani be pleased with that one, because Dawson coming up on the rebound with the footy was the first to recover. Let's have a look at this handball. You questioned, BT, whether or not he hoiked it up in the air first.
Come to us in a minute.
As we take a look at down the ground shot there, give you an idea of how congested the vicinity is where the ball is.
Back to your Prittis. Holding arms around. Right there. Thanks, Clint.
The umpires have noticed this round are really on to any holding around the stoppage. Willing to pay those free kicks all weekend. There's little McGinnity. Waters, who's worked hard so far for not a great result. Fans like the efforts of McGinnity there. Really good crowd in.
BT, just before the start of the game, we had a sprinkling of rain. A couple of St Kilda players came to the bench and changed their boots. Stevie Milne's changed his boots twice in the first 12 minutes of this quarter.
Dare to say he's confused then, Rowan.
He is very confused, BT.
Yes. Ball in territory out there that is very much occupied by a lot of players. Prittis, Montagna, as I've said, has had a lot of the ball already. Here is that handball attempt, or is it the tackle? Prittis to the boundary, and we'll throw it in. Neutral territory on the wing here. McAvoy against Nat Nui. Saw him walking the ground, walking laps prior to the warm-up, or during their allocated very early warm-up today. McAvoy just getting a good feel of what the ground and what it offers around.
Good score there by McGinnity. Lee Montagna is up to 8 possessions.
Duke's extended there, and the defender always able to get a fist there if they aren't stretched out to their max. One of the basics.
It's interesting, BT players still going for chest marks, given that the rules have almost, they almost tell you must take the ball in your hand, because if someone chops your arm, you're going to get a free kick. And yet we see even there, one around the stomach area, and blokes still trying to take chest marks.
You increase the chances of winning the ball. I'm not sure whether players these days are not equipped to be able to take the out in front mark, but I'm sure they would be. The amount of times they handle the ball makes you wonder.
It's a good move. McAvoy needs to go quick and long, and he's got some support.
He has. The run is really impressive as they drive it really deep down there towards Stanley from Gilbert.
Important role from Gilbert. No Jason Graham, of course, who is missing for up to 3 weeks. Had a bit of an adductor release, we believe. Also had a bit of hamstring soreness at the end of last week, so they'll need to get some run off that half-back line.
He started on fire this year in the first 3 or 4 rounds too. Jason Graham was probably St Kilda's his best player. Schofield took a long time to get rid of it, and found something out of his corner of his eye in McKenzie. A little run, retreats, nothing downfield, so just wanted to bring it back to the safety spot, and now Embley. So a rather benign opening here at Subi. McGinnity.
Hold, Adam, hold.
Hams offering the lead, so was Scott Selwood. Ignored that and decided the contest was the better. McKinley there over the top in Waters and took a juggling mark, not paid. Dean Margett said he didn't have it long enough. And let's have a look at that out. Contentious out of bounds one, Jared.
Well, we've got 4 boundary umpires, as you know. And just having a look at that, that's clearly out of bounds and probably a throw. And here's the issue with Waters.
Yep, a juggling attempt. Did he hold it? The umpire adjudicated no.
And Smithy, just having a look at the positioning of the boundary umpires, they seem to want to keep 100 metres between each other. So we're not really seeing incidents from either side that would have picked up that last one.
That's exactly right, Jared. I think they just want to save their legs a little bit, and they're just too far spread apart. They just should have maybe a half each, and probably when the ball's on the wing, they should nearly be standing next to each other.
Well, there's 3 boundary umpires on the side we are, all within about 150 metres. Couldn't get that one right. Look at Lynch. Did he bite off too much?
He did.
I think so.
Well, Brett Shepherd created the play there. Just had to get it over top because he gave a second option running forward of the play, but Lynchy just didn't see the awareness of players around him.
Thanks, Quinton. Play on. Line.
I think one of the field umpires might have gone to do the secondary job of boundary umpire there momentarily, but
either that or your eyesight needs a bit of
no, or if he wants to do that, it's less pay. I just hope he knows about it. There's an opportunity for Milne, trying to sell some foot candy. Did it really well. Got to the vortex area and missed it out of bounds on the full.
It was a letter for West Coast because Andrew Embley peeled off him, tried to intercept the ball and didn't make it with his leg speed, and they created a 2-on-1 there, St Kilda, so it's a big letter for West Coast.
I think the umpires there, Jared, were doing the right thing and trying to help the boundary umpires.
No, spot on. Just on the win, Jacko, is there much of an advantage here given that the stand does protect it a hell of a lot at the other end?
There is, especially as the game goes on, and that Fremantle doctor does pick up towards the end of the day, so the City end always favours.
There's the kick by Schofield to McKinlay. Quilled all over him. At the moment, these two sides looking very much low in skill. We expect that St Kilda will certainly improve. Wilkes, Hayes.
No, this is a good
got the loose out.
Line.
They have Fisher, who snuck up from half back.
Schofield's caught in between here. He's either got to go to the ball carrier or go back to the goal square and fill a hole here. He's done either.
Too far.
Hold. Free kick up the ground.
Gee, that's a tough ball.
Yours, just there.
He's just asking him, yeah.
That is a tough ball. Let's count the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh yeah. But a lot of that was sideways, crab-like. You can run 15, can't you? So I reckon it was a tight call.
Very tight. They're confusing us now, the curators. Look at the lines on the turf there. They used to be all 10 metres.
Yeah, 10 metre.
And now they're really throwing it around.
Rose up.
10, 5 and 10.
It's Bo Wilkes.
There might be 5s and 2.5s, I think, Jack. Just to confuse us even more.
Didn't have it, Ebert. Should get a free, and he does. So Ebert's got it right on the edge of the square. You can see there, and West Coast looking to build something out of this. We've had just the 2 goals kicked in 20 minutes here so far. Handball from Shepherd.
Poor kick.
Selwood with the misdirected kick. Fisher.
They're zoning, they're pushing numbers back well, St Kilda. It's a matter of how long they can do this on this size ground as the game wears on, but they're just frustrating West Coast forwards at the minute. They've had plenty inside 50s for only 2 shots on goal.
Fisher, and this is where they're turning the ball over a bit in this position. The Saints. Gwilt now forced to kick to the contest. Snyder lost the body on his man there in Butler, but no harm done. Adam Snyder, the former Swan, 50th game today for him. Nice little milestone. I reckon if you play 150 games, Jared, as a league football, you've had a really good career.
Yeah, he's can continue to build once you put that foundation underneath you.
Hearn spinning out of the McWalter tackle in the end. Here's Schofield. Can he get the kick right? No, it had too much on it.
Well, the viewers at home, BT, can judge exactly how far these things go. We've just had it confirmed. They're 5 and 2.5, those strips.
Okay. Makes the maths hard. Why don't they just do 5 and 5 like they used to? I reckon this groundsman's having us on. Fair dinkum. Gilbert does a lovely job presenting it, but
because we've seen now take a couple of possessions up on the wing, and it looks as if he's been asked to, given the size of this ground, to play more or higher up the ground as we're seeing. This doesn't help anybody if the ball doesn't stay in. Nice mark from Lynch.
Doing it at both ends. Quentin Lynch. Schofield had plenty of it in the back half. Out wide and a good kick. Finds Shepherd. So a bit of circle work at the moment without a lot of intent here. He's going to be the first team to crack it open. McKinlay. And in the backs, he touched him after he took the mark, said umpire Ray Chamberlain. Now this will bring McKinley well within range. I would say 10 or 15 metres inside the 50. And Ray Chamberlain's got that one just about spot on. And he's a good kick. McKinley, just the 3 goals for the year.
But his accuracy's been the question this year, BT. He's been getting it a little bit, but last year where he was deadly in front of the sticks, this year's been an area that's let him down.
Protection of the triple stand at that end of the ground, and that's to the right. Always a little bit of left to right curl at that end. And that man there, got the sunnies on just in case it does pop out at any stage during the game. Or are they 3D glasses? Of course, they may well be, Jared. As Hayes. Kazitsky, clever tap to McAvoy. Knew he would have been tackled. Well done, McAvoy. Some good decisions made there. Another one from Milne. Drawing handball to Peake, who's got Cozzy on if he wants. He goes the right foot banana. And Peake missing.
Did the team thing there, but running forward to the play like that, you'd think a goal kicker. Players were spreading away from him with the breeze behind him. Milne would have been better off just to kick it along the ground in the goal to the goal square.
I agree with you, Jack. I think he was in a better position.
Running straight at him.
Yep. Peake was working really hard, got on the end of it, but as we saw, he was running across from his preferred foot and doesn't like kicking on the left.
McKinley, lucky to tidy that up. Sit back into Schofield, so just a little uneasy with the kicking across the back half at the moment. Both of these teams. Like that, McGinnity overworking the ball, but didn't take the advantage there. Nick Hayne. And as a result, they maintain possession, the Eagles, but they are tempting the Saints. Pritis. McGinnity. Beautiful tackle, run down from behind by Snyder.
Back there, big
and that's the sort of pressure we saw almost as their trademark last year, the Saints.
There's been Hams involved in the play there. Here's Montagna now, about 60 out.
Ooh.
It goes inboard, Ebert, centre-half back. Can they move the ball quickly? If they can, they've got Kennedy and Quentin Lynch both 1 out if they want. They elect not to. And I would like Jared Lynch on Goddard and Kennedy on Dawson as a one-on-one target. I'd back those 2 guys.
Interesting move to have Goddard as a defender at the present time. He's very much a sweeper, but he is working off Lynch, as you said.
Hams.
Straight up, Justin. Patrick.
McGinnity it was, in fact.
Ball's dead. Straight up.
Cozzy and he tangled up. rather unusual game, just a goal each kick. We've played nearly 25 minutes. A couple of minutes left in the quarter. And neither side looks like killing the scoreboard. Gilbert around the corner to a bit of open territory. And West Coast just happy to concede it. Gee, this game is...
Very casual there.
I tell you what, if I see any body contact at all at some stage, I'd be surprised.
He's having a rough afternoon, that boundary umpire.
It's exactly the same position as the earlier one, Jared. Milne, Selwood, sharp hands, Prittis. Can they muster something out of this? Lacroix's got a break on Rafael Clark. Once again, the kick was poor. And to the advantage of the opposition.
Good play from Clark.
It was, looking for the give and go, stopped his run. Hayes to Del Santo, who just put up the one hand. Gee, you wonder about that. Now, Rosa, Schofield. Boy, is this a battle in the midfield at the moment. Forwards at either end aren't being bothered.
I think you'd be pretty happy if you're John Worsfold right at the moment. 2 minutes of play remaining. Can they go in with another goal?
Butler, sensational. Lacroix wants to wind up and go for home. The square is vacant.
McKinley
needs a good bounce. McKinley into the open. He marked it. I always say in that situation, if you're unsure where you are, mark the ball. Even though he's pretty sure where he was.
Well, it's the one element of footy I reckon the West Coast Eagles forward line missed out on a lot, and that is that fast break type of goal. And McKinley's not the quickest bloke, but he was very smart and got onto it early.
To give the Eagles the lead, McKinley just steps to the line and gets it through. The Eagles have got a couple and they lead late in this first.
Good signs for the home team at the present time. They're kicking into a wind, as we see, once they get it across that centre-half forward position. Probably not having that big of an impact, but this is a really smart kick from Lacroix. Sees the man running, gets the ball on quickly. He's the one running fastest, and he gets the fast break right on the line. Could have let it bounce, but I reckon he did the right thing. The ball could quite easily have gone straight back over his head, and he settled it with a nice goal.
Kinley kicking his first goal of the game, and the Eagles have that lead, 5-point margin, and they would be excited with that as we're almost at the quarter-time break. McAvoy, nice control in the middle. Milne and Hayes had an opportunity, left for Milne now. Nine out there. Selwood tidies up, and an opportunity here with Shepherd. As Butler kicked that last one inside to Lacroix. This one was a little more difficult for Embley. He's trying to get on the end of it. Milne looking dangerous, although back down to the pack without the ball. Shepherd, handball. Gilbert the spoil. The Saints piling on the pressure. Good tackle in the end by Wilkes.
Well, they hustled themselves out of it, West Coast. Good work by Bo Wilkes. He's had a couple of good 50-50s, which he's been able to isolate the ball, calls the ball up there. Good work.
Don't hold.
Stack of players around the ball. Natanui looking for some space. McAvoy kept him honest. Clinton Jones kept his nerve even though he was being tackled, was able to handball towards his own goal. Butler, McKenzie and Rose are all combining in the defensive 50. That's a nervous little stroke of the ball, wasn't it? Prittis. Gee, it's untidy. Butler. Now Hearn. He's normally a good kick. Did you see that?
Try to be cute. Look for the smaller option. It's that second kick out of the defensive 50 that's causing him a bit of trouble at the minute, West Coast.
Goddard says, I'm going to kick it long, and he does. And the Eagles simply with the numbers around the ball, but another kick that wasn't out in front. Swift. Smithy, are the conditions that bad down there?
They are. Look, it is really difficult for the players. It's very blustery down here, BT.
All right, well, the end of the first quarter, a 5-point advantage with the West Coast, a low-scoring affair. We'll see what happens on the other side of the break in the second.
long talls and not much run and pressure.
Well, that wind has strengthened and straightened towards the left of screen end, and the rain is looking threatening. Cox with a backhander. Here's Jones. Longish handball to Del Santo, who's got to take on Rosa. Did really well, Del Santo. That's excellent work. Jones inside to Hayes. That opens him up. Good play, the Saints. And here comes Kazitsky. Beautiful punch away in the end. West Coast. McKenzie did really well on Cozzy on that occasion. Selwood, no awareness. Didn't quite nail him in the tackle. McKenzie a little iffy with the handball, and now they've got to work hard.
Got to up the tempo on that forward pressure, St Kilda. It built them almost a premiership, and at the moment it's the thing that's missing.
Well, number 1 in the competition last year, Jared. Number 16 in the competition this year at forward end tackles. Maintaining the ball in your forward 50 is one of the modern trends in footy. See the likes of Cyril Rioli and these guys.
The goals from the turnovers as well, BT.
Hayes goes inside 50.
Milne.
A lot of St Kilda players already. Selwood got it. He was a little undecided what to do, and now through here they go to Lynch, just backward to the centre.
It's a field of dreams for Nat Nui. It's one out, Nat Nui and Goddard and Fisher.
Didn't get it to him. Didn't get it to anyone, in the fact. Perhaps just to the advantage of the West Coast play downfield will be good.
Back here, Nick Del Santo in the back.
Working pretty hard, Nick Del Santo. He's got a pretty strong tag on. He's up to 8 possessions. All their ball winners, all their main guns are winning the footy, and that'll be the concern for the coach. Hayes has got plenty. Montagna's in double figures as well.
Kick too heavy for any of the forwards. A hold there. Advantage paid. Milne runs into an open goal.
You're holding Ray Stanley. You're slamming his gun for him, holding it. Race, I've had the advantage. You're being held.
And he took the advantage, all right. In fact, he was a bit stiff last entry that he didn't get it as well. You see McGinnity there just let Milne go. Just decided to umpire the game himself. He thought it was going the other way. And just watch McGinnity off the back, goes the other side of the pack. And, well, Stephen Milne, he said, well, give me another little bit of this action.
The body work by the big Zach Kazitsky, just bringing the ball down to the ground, making himself a big target.
Steve Milne with his first, just the second St Kilda goal of the game early in the second quarter.
And the change is on. Goddard goes into the middle. Del Santo pushes out. Rosa continues to run with Del Santo.
Look at where all the players are in that down the ground shot. They are all in that funnel straight down the middle. From back to forward. Very few players wide these days. Goddard. Selwood threw himself on the ball. Got it to Hearn. Tried to blast through Peak.
Mine, well battled.
In the end, 3 Saints were able to lock him up.
Just readjusted the Saints. Their last 2 entries inside 50. They've looked dangerous with pace. They've gone through the middle of the ground and to a leading Kazitsky. And on the last occasion, you saw Milne just get to the front of the pack, get himself a kick.
Hearing Ray Chamberlain say, boys, can I have some room behind me? So what happened in the first quarter when he got punched. Here's McKinley on his non-preferred left side. He's made it work. It's gone over the top of Lynch. McKinley's got a couple.
Well, that was a double whammy for McKinley because, A, he was shooting for the pass, so he was showing that the team skills were there, the team thought, and yet it went over his head and he got a goal as well. So it was a double win for both him and the West Coast Eagles. BT, take me through the structure here. As you said, they're lining up down the middle of the ground, which means when they burst on the angle. Why wouldn't they be better out on the periphery and leading back towards the middle? If they take a mark, they're dead set in front.
Only trouble with that, Jared, of course, if their men hang off them and stay in the corridor, zone off them, rather than go out with them.
Well, then they're going to get the ball kicked straight to them.
Well, they are, but they may well be, in fact, outside of scoring distance in that situation. But I see your point, and it just depends on the way the defender plays you, whether he stays inside or whether he wants to play in front of you. Here's Milne playing in front of his man. Kicks in front, opportunity. Cozzy needs to be strong, had it in both hands.
That was a brilliant kick from Milne.
It was. Did well McKenzie in the end. Del Santo went without it. Got it again. Montagna, fast hands. Peak from the standing start. That won't go. What can the Saints do right on the line?
Good work by Del Santo. Just hustled Dean Cox, who was just struggling behind. There's a definite free kick there. Just over the arm and shoulder. Gone soft on that rule.
They certainly have. I mean, it's not a chop, but it was certainly an interference.
Yeah, I reckon you're both being a little harsh on the defender there.
Well, that's the rule, BT.
Gee, boy.
It's over the shoulder.
I'm going to show you again when we get the opportunity to roll that again, and I'm going to give you one opportunity to change your mind. Here's Gardner to knock it down. I just thought there wasn't a lot of contact there. Here goes Kennedy now. Couldn't get it. I'll bow to you, though. You're both fine gentlemen with great football minds. Kennedy spinning pirouette out of trouble to McKinley again. The danger man will line up for goal number 3 for him.
Well, he's found an opportunity to stand up on an occasion for himself. He's been struggling with form. All the focus has been on Lucas and Kennedy, but he's got a chance to kick his third here, Jared. But he's leading. His work rate's up. That's the reason why.
Now this kick
dangerous.
Is definitely left to right with the wind coming over his shoulder. He just needs to aim it at the left goalpost, and he will know that because this is that vortex pocket. This is where the ball gets sucked in, and you can't miss from here, according to Glenn Jakovic. McKinley comes in and almost missed the ball. Almost stumped his toe and didn't make contact. Let's have a look at this mark, boys. Tell me whether you think this is...
Well, look, he takes his focus off the ball. He takes his focus off the ball. That's a definite free kick. Once the end, that rule came in a couple of years ago, we've seen a lot less given, Brian. But I may agree with you in the context of it.
No slap of the arms there.
But he took his eyes off the ball and it concentrated on the play. Got him on the shoulder, got him on the arm. Should have been a free kick.
Might at half-time, BT, get you to have a look at Ben McKinlay's kicking, because it's gone from one of the most accurate in the game to somebody who just doesn't look as if he's anywhere near confident in front of the sticks. I mean, as you said, he nearly missed the lot then.
He looked like he was trying to overkick it.
Got a bit of Ian Baker Finch about him. Lost it completely. There's Milne, pursued by McGinnity. And in the end, the Saints will lock it at their end.
They'll be concerned about Del Santo's influence in this quarter. I think the Eagles, he looks like he's up and about after quarter time.
11 disposals for the game so far, but
had plenty of it early in this quarter.
This quarter as well. Gardner at the back. Schofield left to do his own thing. It's almost like they want him to kick it. Cox.
The pressure's not there, though. I mean, Ross Lyon wouldn't be liking this.
Just hanging on the tackles. Pritis, Jones. What's this for?
West Coast away runner.
West Coast runner got in the way.
Your free kick.
West Coast runner got in the way.
It's against the runner for getting in the road. Stephen Baker.
This is certainly becoming an issue for all clubs at the present time.
Stevie Baker trying to get the extra 50 by saying the ball didn't come back in a direct fashion. Raise a weight to that. Wilt just took too long to get it from hand to boot. And it's really sloppy footy in the end. McGinnity, Butler. Now the Saints start to attack the body and they force the turnover.
Yeah, that kick.
Good result here for the Saints. Cox's handball nowhere in particular. Wilt long ball, McAvoy needs to do it, and he does. Strong.
Had to grab that. No, he's against a midget in comparison.
That's your line there, Ben. That's your line too, thanks.
McAvoy for his first goal this year. The big boy just in his 4th game for the year. Young man that many have been saying they'd like to see him brought up a little quicker. Well, he gets his opportunity here today. Good looking kick of the ball just across the face, and the Saints player able to get a run at it.
Well, I think they're doing pretty much everything that Ross Lyon would have asked at quarter time without finishing off. And all of a sudden now the Eagles have to start looking to exploit the wind advantage they've got.
Hearn in the end had no option but just to kick it long down the line as he ran out of time, and umpire said play on. Kennedy, did he attach the ball to Goddard? Yeah, got his arms pinned, said the umpire.
BT, it's gotten very dark down here, so the lights have been turned on.
They have indeed, and it's threatening. Just a little dribble before the game, as Rowan Smith pointed out, but nothing during it so far. Del Santo on his non-preferred right side. Kaczynski did well. McAvoy needs to be clean. Went to ground. He sat on it. He's a certainty to be pinged here. He should be. Markets does a bit of 360 walk around the back and says, "Big boy, you've got to knock it out."
Just at the other end of the ground, you've got McKinlay on Stephen Baker. Now, McKinlay is a natural full forward.
Hams.
I suspect it'll be worth just 5 minutes in the goal square to see if he can suck one in and see if Baker goes with him.
Here's Waters. One in the middle. Ebert was there. He's well cut off for the mark by Gwilt. Now McGinnity's got it all to do. Snyder let the tackle go in the end. And now an opportunity with Wilkes outside. And here comes Lacroix. Can he keep it alive? Clark did well. Goddard. Foul Clark. The handball wasn't in front of Peake, had to come back and get it.
Good running.
It was indeed. It's Hine.
It's getting too much space, Mill.
Mill wants Cozzy to come at him. He did, and Cozzy was confused in the end. McKenzie pushes Cozzy out of the way. Good ball. Does he get a good bounce? McKenzie got back and made sure it didn't bounce through.
He would have got the distance if he had made that decision earlier because we had more of a run-up.
Well, Jacko, Stevie Milne came straight from the bench and then Patrick McGinnity just got a little bit lost.
Scott Selwood. Kinley to Prentice on his favoured left side. Drives it long. Lacroix's got to beat a couple. Goddard in front. Free kick paid against Lacroix. Goddard the recipient.
He had his arms in the air when he launched himself out. Did he? Oh, got his hand on the shoulder there.
Saints are under real pressure here at the moment.
Oh.
Clark, laconic looking kick.
I still think West Coast's got to be patient, Jerry, and go in their forward line. St Kilda getting numbers back very quickly and forcing West Coast to kick to a contest, thinking they can expose their lack of skill.
I think one of your issues, Jacko, is they're just not getting the ball in there.
Hawks wanted the bailout kick to the middle of the ground, but no one came at him. He's furious and saying, come on, fellas, someone's got to get back there so I can switch the ball across.
Just 9-3 this quarter, Jacko. 3 times inside forward 50. Yep. They are really getting beaten around the ground at the moment, the Eagles. And they're lucky to still maintain a lead.
21-11 total inside 50s. St Kilda's way. Here's Gwilt.
Well, that's an opening if there ever was one.
Ebert.
They've got to try and get Hearn on that outer side with his big kick. He's open.
Well,
Emily just didn't get it to him.
Emily didn't see him. You're right, Jacko. He was out there. He was waiting. And it just had to be knocked over the top, and they couldn't get it there.
Well, they're breaking down inside their forward line momentarily because they're getting numbers back, St Kilda, but they've got to find other options. And Hearn, he was on this commentary side wing. Now he's gone on the outer wing, so if they can isolate him, obviously with that breeze, if he can, you know what he's going to do if he gets outside 50 or 60 metres.
Tackle by Hine, I think it was. Here's Prentice trying to work his way through. Montagna caught in the tackle as well, and Embley has the ball well and truly pinned by Jones.
Just going back to Raf Clark, he's situated right now on Lacroix. He's been asked to play full back. Lacroix is sitting there, really dangerous player. At the moment, he's well on top in that duel, and yet he comes up with a dud kick like that last one. Yep. No pressure, and yet sticks it straight out of bounds. That's a perfect tackle.
It was. He had one arm pinned on the ball. He didn't dispose of the ball. The whistle might have even blown earlier.
So it's just little things that are preventing Raf Clark from jumping up another step as a player.
Hayes goes long and deep, and markers taken here by Stanley. So an opportunity for his first goal in the big time. Reece Stanley for St Kilda to get some reward for the play that they've had in this 13 minutes of the second quarter. A little bit of protection here for him. There's a good look at it. Stanley comes in and misses by a long, long way. Much to the delight of the fans in that forward pocket there for the West Coast.
Just want to have a look at this. I mean, Tom Swift takes possession here. Did he have prior chance to get rid of it?
Well, he made no effort to.
Well, but his arm gets pinned in the tackle, so it was a chicken wing. So, I mean, he's asked, the umpire's explanation was he made no attempt.
Yeah, I agree. He could have dropped the ball onto his foot. I mean, I know it was a degree of difficulty. It was hard, but he didn't try to do it. That was the only thing he could have done, because otherwise he would have thrown the ball if he tried to handle it.
Then you ask, how much time did he have? He's just taken it out of the contest and he's been tackled straight away. Recent time, they've gone soft on that rule as far as prior opportunity.
That Nui and McAvoy. That Nui hasn't exactly set the world on fire in this one here today.
Embley's gone on to Nick Del Santo. He's giving him the Cameron Ling treatment.
Look at the players around the ball. That Nui did well.
You see Del Santo, he is looking for the umpire, a little bit of umpire assistance.
Thanks, Prido. Thank you, mate. Same again, boys. A bit of room behind me, please.
Ray really concerned about that room behind him because he got clobbered in the first quarter, Ray Chamberlain, the umpire. There's Rosa. Swift's handball to no avail, and in the end, the Saints lock it down here at centre-half-back.
Possession there, BT. Three handballs in a space of 5 metres. They've got a ball up. Aren't they better off just getting it and kicking to the goal square and then backing blokes like Beau Waters and Lacroix down there?
Don't hold off the footy.
St Kilda have been very good at the rebound in previous years. I'm not so sure this year, though, Jacko, so it may well be the right option given their current form. But here's the run of Gilbert, and this was a major reason why they were so good last year. Gilbert, running half-back, great kick. Stanley, good leap.
Pete, over the top.
He's got Milne on if he wants. Pokes it to him, but it's a real difficult angle. You can bet your bottom dollar here that he'll run and play on.
He's got McAvoy screaming for it, Cozzy's screaming for it.
No one checking the play on. Embley is in the picture there. He should go in and stop Milne running around. And Milne does now. Can't believe that. Milne's able to bend it around. No one bothering to get to the side of him. Embley with hands on hips.
Yeah, top call, BT. Spotted that one completely. And you did a lot better than the West Coast boys, and they'll be ruining that. No doubt they'll focus on it at half-time to make sure it doesn't happen again. But it's amazing what happens when you're kicking. Sometimes with the wind, the run stops. They've only gone inside forward 50 on 5 occasions, Jacko. That is 24 a game. That's incredibly low. And yet the Saints are the side that's working really hard at the present time. And in many ways, they could be further in front.
So just collectively the 6 goals for the game for both teams, 3 in each quarter. And Milne gets his 2nd goal of the quarter.
Well, they did isolate him as the man that stood between a West Coast win and a loss.
Tackle,
BT.
It does look dangerous down there. Opportunity now with Ebert. Milne keeps Hearn from the run past opportunity. Crowd jeer the long kick, one of the few. Kennedy on the bottom of that.
Both holding that.
With Fisher.
Can't knock any of you off there. Make an effort, boys.
No blocks off the back.
Jared, Shannon Hearn is an easy one. He's only had the 4 possessions at the moment. Just playing off a half-back flank. Do you think it's time to probably just throw him in the midfield and let him use his kicking skills in the middle?
Well, I don't think it ever hurts Smithy to move a bloke who's just not really having an involvement at the present time, and you've isolated him correctly. He might get a chance here.
Del Santo. Kick. Hearn made it look not so good.
Free man here.
That's a good kick. And Hearn very precise with his kick to Shepherd there.
And I guess that's why, Smithy, they're reluctant to move him from that position, because he's such a great kick that they need a good kick out of their defence, and they haven't got too many.
But he's a little bit of a stronger body player too, Jared, just up against the season campaigners of the St Kilda Footy Club at the moment.
Well, I reckon if he was playing in a stronger side with more options, he'd certainly be a midfielder.
Let's ride this one home with Shepherd right behind him here.
Right-hand goal post, BT.
For the lead again. Too much to the right. Came back, as you suggested, Glenn, but a little too much out to that right-hand
He's
side.
done that well a couple of occasions, and that time got rewarded, but pushed really hard into the forward 50. Probably not getting any acknowledgement as yet in his 3rd league game, but using his footy smarts, finding space, and when he does that, he needs to just capitalise and kick the goal when you get a free shot at it.
That's a great kick out.
Looking for Gardner, but unable to get him is now Wilkes. Bangs it back in. Got to beat a couple here. Kennedy over the back. McKinley had an opportunity. Can he make it work off the outside of the boot? He can. McKinley's got 3.
Well, Jared, on a couple of occasions, West Coast, when they've gone in long like that, they've got bodies up there that can bring the ball to the ground, and opportunity creates. And on this occasion, Ben McKinley's having a day. He's kicked 3 goals. He's created a few options, but big Josh Kennedy just made himself felt in the air there. Big presence. So I prefer West Coast with the aid of the breeze, kick it long, put this defence under enormous pressure.
I prefer West Coast playing full forward to full forward. And McKinley's one of them.
McKinley's kicked 3 of the 4 West Coast goals, the last 3 in a row. And West Coast back in front by 4. St Kilda not getting it on their terms here today. Gardner in the middle. Peak back into the St Kilda side this week. Del Santo.
Oh, smart handball. That was brilliant.
Deliberately out in front and along the ground, and here's the danger man, Mills.
They're going to have to make a change.
He's got Cozzy one-on-one if he wants. That's where he's going. Gardner got into that pocket. Cozzy over the top did well.
Handball over.
That's the way to go. Schneider just had to get it out. Couldn't get it out to the right side. McKenzie. Wilt goes to ground. McKinley got to attack it. He does nicely. And now Shepherd. Wasn't a greatly presented ball to Lynch on the lead. Let's have a look at Nick Del Santo here. Deliberate underground handball here, Jared, or did he lose control of it?
Oh, I think he meant it, BT. It was absolutely superb. And whilst we're running hot on giving credits, McKinley's effort there was magnificent. He's really pumped up. He knows he's having the day he's been looking for to find some form.
Yep, stay there, Dean.
Worked really hard.
Gilbert. Centre half back here, the Saints. Trailing by 4. And certainly haven't looked the team they've been over the last few years here today.
McKinley certainly on.
Hearn, beautiful kick, wasn't it? And got it to Hams.
He's going to go back and kick it here. He's one guy that always looks to give it off. The umpire's called him back over. But on that occasion, Hams got it, but Ben McKinley was there by himself.
Right on the perimeter fence here. Ham starts his approach. A really difficult angle, but favours his left side. And Gardner happy to see the boundary. So just under 6 minutes remaining here in the first half, and hasn't exactly been a goal-kicking fest. Thompson, Gardner go at it. Natanui, the third man up, as Jared mentioned, would happen quite a bit in this game today.
Thank you, Brendan. Brendan, don't hold off the ball. Don't block.
No real flow in this game for either side.
No, we've only had 7 goals in a half. Just looking at Prittis's numbers, he's got the claw on him, and yet he's had 16 possessions.
Kidley with a soccer missed.
13 of them have been handballs, which is probably standard for him.
2 metres in front of you.
And after the last kick out that created a goal.
Well, Rafael Clark tried to take it off Del Santo then, and Del said, no, I'm capable. Leave it to me, don't panic just because I've got one wrong. And, Rafael perhaps wanting to take over the duties. McAvoy would grab. Kick was nice.
Gardner's on.
Ray Jones tried to take him on back inside. They always had him covered, and now the turnover for Prittis. Handball deliberately out in front of McKinley, but too far.
Well, Jones got stitched up there because he didn't have a right side. He couldn't quite get onto his left boot. And then, of course, we saw it break down again with the Prittis handball not hitting a target.
Gilbert. Goddard didn't have it. If you're Ross Lyon, are you happy right now, Jared?
I think he'd be really pleased. They could be a little bit further in front, although they've lost the handle on the game the last few minutes.
Hayes. Left foot kick. McKenzie in front of Cozzy. Cozzy able to double back. Butler put his head over it and won a nice ball. Now Schofield needs to hit the target with a kick. Embley.
Back 3 metres, Steve.
Crowd urging him to kick it long, and he does that now. Kennedy on the lead. Great kick, Embley. Kennedy should have marked that.
Struggling at the moment, Josh, after a big one last week. Just 4 touches.
Everyone's got it.
He gets there all the time, doesn't he?
Well, he just pulled up. He went the chest mark, which you're critical of. I mean...
well, in that situation, it's okay because the defender's too far behind, but... Gee, should have hung on to that one. That's the difference between this stoppage and going inside 50 for a chance. It's Goddard keeping Prittis honest. Kick by Embley inside 50 to a 2-on-2 here. Put his head over it.
Shepherd can get it to him.
Won the handball out. Waters now Swift. Selwood turns around. A little chisler. Here's Kennedy and Gilbert. Did well Gilbert under pressure. Montagna handball stripped by the man of the moment, McKinley. Missed to the left.
He's the man of the moment. He's just getting in the right places, and that's because of his work rate there. One area of his game always gets criticised. Watches too much of the play instead of just getting his work rate up, and today he's certainly on song.
He could have kicked 7 goals today. He's got 3-3, and he's had a couple others not quite there. Great Snarling. This is, I'm sure, would really be encouraging John Worsfold. Even though they haven't built a big lead, their field rate is still pretty high.
Fans out of their seat. We've got a blood rule here. Fans out of their seat in applauding the smother there. We saw on the replay by Waters with the blood rule. Will come from the ground. And the rule here is that they've got to give the player coming on time to get into a position that he's happy with. Umpire will ask him.
I think West Coast will be pretty happy the last 5 minutes after the dominance of St Kilda, and they can go at half-time leading. They've just sensed an opportunity that with them. So it's a good arm wrestle for West Coast.
Boundary throw and attacking 50 for the West Coast. Goddard, Del Santo, really good combination of sneaky stuff there. As Hayes pounds the ball on the head of McAvoy. Did well. Handball wasn't great, but Schofield's pressure was good.
Very good there by Wilkes. He didn't give the free kick away. He just kept his eyes on the football. He anticipated where his player was, his direct opponent, but just tracked the player, which was very good then.
Cox and Gardner. Cox won that battle. Swift got the high one. They've got a couple of players out here. Now, Hearn can get it to Lynch. Lynch has got room, but Fisher's closing him down. Around the corner, nice kick, McKinley.
He's got to back himself here.
Goes to Cox, needs to be strong, and he is against the smaller Baker. Now, if Cox were to go back and kick this, they would be very pleased with their first half work.
Look at this.
Cox over the top, McKinley around the body, don't tell me. He's kicked 4, all in a row.
Well, we saw it at one end with West Coast gone to sleep with Stephen Milne having a set shot on that occasion. You saw Shannon Hearn gravitating, but I mentioned before Ben McKinley, well, a couple of weeks ago, he wouldn't have lifted his work rate after this kick. He would have just stopped, kicked it to Dean Cox, and just stopped and watched Dean Cox go back. But he's decided to run forward to the play here.
Strange things happen, Jacko. You've described it as a vortex. Strange things.
A lot of goals in the vortex today.
Well, he's certainly hot. Have a look at that. 10 minutes, 6 disposals. Has kicked all 3 West Coast goals in this quarter. And the one at the end of the first quarter to go with that 3. Fair to say, he's been dominant at that end of the ground. Are you interested in changing the matchup on him at the moment, Gerald, or are we leaving it as it is?
Well, I think you've got to have another option, and they'll certainly be swinging it around, I think, because he has just been so dominant.
Going on to him now is Fisher. As McKinley, so confident is he now that he's issuing instructions about where everyone should stand, and why not, because he's the man that's hot. Here's Montagna around the body, high ball, Stanley out position, comes to Snyder, just didn't have the clean hands.
Oh, lucky.
He was lucky to get the free.
Put his head in there.
That's all it is.
And he was lucky. It was almost shoulder, and it was a pretty good staging act from Adam Snyder.
Snyder on the eve of half-time.
Needs this one. He's had a pretty quiet afternoon.
Just his 3rd kick of the day from 50. Important one for the Saints. He's normally good in this position. That's no exception. Snyder gets the goal.
Well, that was one that St Kilda desperately needed, just to hang on. They've been pretty good, but they have really lost the handle on the match over the last 5 or 6 minutes. And that one, I'm not sure that was there, to be honest. I think that was inconsequential. And he was lucky enough to get the shot, but who cares? He's probably missed out on plenty over the journey. He got an opportunity, and he made the most of it. Nice shot at goal.
Snyder gets his first. Saints get their third of the quarter. 3 goals apiece. The team's in this quarter. Minute 25 remaining in the half. Beautiful bounce. Cox, nice tap out. Selwood first to arrive. Montagna. Jones, high balls at centre forward. Here comes Kazitsky. Both hands on it. McQualter needs to keep it pushing forward. And now West Coast have got a heap of players out wide. Embley goes to Lynch, but the kick a little hesitant. And under a minute to go, and the St Kilda runner is out working overtime at the moment. Instructing the players with regards to time left. Don't do anything silly. Cox. Round the corner. Quilt. Mark. Wants to run away. And he does. I reckon Kennedy forgot for a moment which way he was going. McAvoy.
Move it on. Play on.
He decided what to do, so he's going to bail out to Gilbert.
Up there, Josh. Play on.
30 seconds left in the half.
Tom.
And I think St Kilda are now going to be happy just to
Move it on, Sam. Play on.
eat some time up here.
Just got a query, BT, whether you think Saints are capable of kicking a winning score. They've had Hayes with 20 possession, Del Santo 17, Montagna 15, Goddard 12, and yet they've kicked 4 goals.
I don't know what their marks inside 50 are. It's not a great result, Gerard. Just the 4 goals for a half. As Hearn takes the mark, he's going to go the barrel. From inside the centre square he goes. St Kilda players scurry to get back, and no score for Hearn. So a rather unusual first half of footy here. West Coast by 1 straight goal. 5-6-36 to the Saints. 4-6-30.
He got half a boot on it, but the one thing that prevents you saying that the Eagles are certain is to win this is that St Kilda have just had so much more ball inside 50. It's a question, can they orchestrate enough goals out of their forwards to, I guess, get some reward for the work up the ground.
Here is Schofield. Goes inside 50, high ball. Lynch caught behind. Opportunity Lacroix. Was he driven into the ground? Umpire said it was okay. And now McKinley wrapped up in a Blake tackle.
Just a very important in the early stages of this third quarter. Good first inside 50 for West Coast, but they've got to make sure they keep it in there from this stoppage and get some use out of it. Get a dangerous player, third man up, or a Lacroix who hasn't had a big game as well as Kennedy, push forward and isolate him in the goal square.
Well, he's the one you'd be worried about. He hasn't had any impact whatsoever, Mark Lacroix, and yet we know what he can do.
Embley trying to find a way through on that occasion. Now Milne working in the back half, and dangerous on an odd occasion this game. Wasn't his best kick. By Wilkes. Lynch. Butler says you go with the kick. It had a bit of air time, but Schofield got hold of it and kicked it long to a 2-on-1 without great direction as the umpire
Ran into Cox,
got bowled over again there. Michael Jennings by Dean Cox. Now Hayes. has been the leading possession getter in this game. That's the 20th time he's had hold of the thing. And too long.
Big opportunity for West Coast because there's a second inside 50 now.
Umpire initially said no handball, and then when Hayes asked the question, he said too long. So I just wonder which one it was. Kick goes inside. Selwood is marked. Goddard. Will there be 50 to go with it?
He said no. It's in the contest.
So Selwood will have to go back and kick the goal some 45 metres. And this would be a great start. Oh, it was a little late, but he was still in the process of completing the mark.
He tried his best to pull out of that.
Crowd was a little upset. Goddard pointing to say that's where the mark is. I'm coming forward. Remember that. It's always a good thing to do if you're a man on the mark. Guy kicking it is uncertain where the mark is. Selwood just comes back and hammers it home. Good start for the Eagles.
That was the all-important start. They've had 2 inside 50s, but good forward line pressure. That's the big key. I mean, St Kilda, they mount their attacks from their half-back line. It was something that was so spoken about in volumes last season. Struggled in recent times, but they got the ball in there and they held the ball in that top 50 area. You saw the tackle on Lenny Hayes. That was just gang tackling pressure, and then a forward option there. It's been crunched a few times. You know he's going to do that, but good goal from a midfielder.
Adam Selwood there kicking the goal. 2-goal advantage. Gee, the umpires have found it hard to do that. Look at that. Cox and the umpire just...
Who's in the fault there?
Well,
he's coming across.
Just had poor vision.
I think neither at fault. They both weren't looking out for each other, so shouldn't be an issue as far as I'm concerned. Del Santo. And look at Selwood having a real crack there.
Straight up, nothing silly. The ball's dead. Straight up. Watch the ball.
And a couple of umpire collisions here today. Marquette's.
Has there been a plague of them this weekend, BT?
There's been a few this weekend, Jared. I think the consensus is, though, it's normally a fine these days, unless it's
just so many players around the football. It's inevitable that eventually players like the last one we saw are going to run into umpires.
The SCG yesterday,
and vice versa.
It's the hit.
Wilkes to Hearn. Hearn. Selwood getting pushed out of the way by Goddard. Did well, Selwood, to try and get it in favour of Rosa, who did really well between a triple treat of Saints. As Ebert tried to get it to the side of Kennedy.
Well played.
Gilbert strong at the ball. Good kick. They've opened him up here, the Saints. Fisher's got Goddard on the inside. He can go all the way. Unselfishly gives it to the lead of Cozzy. Really good kick from Goddard.
Brilliant kick. Stronger hands that time from Cozzy. He was on the end of one in the second quarter, but he let it slip through. But this time, all he's got to do now is kick the goal. And we saw Gilbert there, who was late to the game, going with the right foot, hit the target.
Really unselfish play by Goddard there, because he could have run to 50, and we know he can get the journey from there. Yeah, gave it off to a guy in a better position. Cozzy, who had strong front position in the lead. Directly in front. Justin Kazitsky sliding to the right-hand side, working back. It just trims the post, I think, in the end.
Well, there was 2 passages play early in the first half, Jared, that when St Kilda went through the middle of the ground, Milne got a goal, Kazitsky got a goal because they went through the middle of the ground. On that occasion, turnover, their half-back line, they went through the middle of the ground. They have to go through on this size ground. They have to use a corridor a lot more if they're going to win this game, St Kilda.
Ebert got to be careful not to play on outside the boundary here. Kicks over the mark. It's a high one, though, isn't it? Waters had to go back, and it's a horrible feeling standing in front of a pack that's about to descend on you. Nat Nui. Cox. The little man Hams. Good kick, Kennedy.
Should go back and kick it. He's got options.
Lynch is wide if he wants. Look at the players inboard. Waters is going to get into a position and takes the mark.
Well, it's a double whammy here. If he goes back, Cozzy misses at one end. And really good transition from the Eagles. And this bloke generally, Jacko, is a sensational kick.
Generally is.
Looking like a warrior. There's not a part of his body that hasn't got tape on it at the moment. Waters from directly in front. Eases it home. West Coast, Razia.
They're making good fortunes in their forward entries at this early stage of the third quarter. The other end, Kaczynski has a set shot on goal, hits the post. West Coast go the length of the ground. Good 50-50 on the wing here, which started by Nat Nui, but Hamsey had a couple of options upfield, could have blazed away, but he looked at the direct one in his vision. Found Kennedy, he was outside 50. And as you said, Jared, Bay Waters generally a pretty reliable kick on goal. Couple early for West Coast in the third quarter.
Waters gives the Eagles a 17-point lead, the biggest margin of the game. Fans, as Smithy, is there a bit of light rain out there?
No, it's actually stopped, BT, but I was just watching Bo Waters. He's doing a defensive job on Sam Gilbert at the moment, which is terrific because he was able to get out and then have a shot and kick the goal.
He was. Jones. Talk about getting out. Gilbert gives it to the guy, Montagna, who can run it. Good-looking ball. Cozzie's got to take on a couple. He's got a free. Yep.
It's against Cern here. They got caught.
McWalter's got the kick. I thought it was
Milne wants
Cozzie's kick, but
Probably because it's along the way.
and McWalter's going to be the recipient. And Selwood in a little bit of trouble as well.
Poke in the eye here, possibly. Scott Selwood.
Yep. Looks like he's okay to continue. So Milne
Andrew, come round.
wanted the advantage
Andrew,
paid, and
come round. There's your line.
McWalter now has a free. Now he's in the area that we know. He's got the wind helping over his right shoulder. But he's going to go the pass to the lead. Here comes Milne. And he has looked dangerous all day, Stevie Milne. He's got a couple. Using a fair bit of his time adjusting the boot there. So he gets back quickly to give himself some more time at the start of his approach. Pretty important kick because the Eagles just getting away a little to bring it back to 11 points. Milne comes in. That's a good kick. A real professional kick from Milne to kick his third.
Well, it's a big effort for Stephen Milne. He has had a bit of a history of not playing all that well away from home, but in recent times he's done a lot to resurrect that. And there's that injury to Selwood, just a backhander, accidental whack in the eye. But he's still in a little bit of strife. This is a nice kick in, but it was the conversion that was a significant element. It's almost crisis time right now for the Saints. They lose this one, 3 in a row.
Well, a bit of light rain starting to fall now, I think, Smithy, is there not?
Well, BT, just at that the ad break, it did start to come down, but now it has stopped again.
Well, if it does rain and St Kilda are a couple of goals behind, it's going to be tough for them to get back in business. Their season, Jared, is it right on the line right now, St Kilda?
Well, I think right now, BT, if they don't win this game, they've lost 4 out of 5, and there's going to be questions asked about whether they can make the 8. So you can make that case, and if you're, I guess, players, that's the way you'd be thinking.
There's Lynch. Good pick up, couldn't quite get a handle on the end of it. Farron Ray, creative little thing over the top it was. Now Hayes. Around the corner, beautiful kick from Hayes, finds Stanley. Hasn't had a lot of it in his first game. His 6th touch goes to Milne again. Butler works him under the ball. Goddard. Handball back out. Swift couldn't handle the ball. Just giving the Saints a little sniff there. Milne almost found a way through. And he's been given a free against.
Now it's started raining again, BT, so it's just teasing us at the moment, starting and then stopping, starting again.
Well, if it does have a significant amount of rain, it's just going to turn this into a real big lead. 11 points doesn't sound a lot. Throw some rain in a low-scoring game with a bit of wind, and it's going to be tough to score.
And the Eagles coming home with a wind.
Yep. High kick on the head of Nat Nui. Kennedy got pushed out of the way. A little unfairly before the ball was in the vicinity, I thought. McKinley now. Wilt over the top of it, rammed his head into the turf.
Well, who can dominate here now? Who readjusts because the rain is threatening? So you can just start to see the ball sliding and skidding off the ground. He readjusts, gets in underneath, plays the percentages. Will win first hand, first free kicks. They'll get the free kicks and get rewarded. But just got to be patient moving the ball forward now either side.
Del Sano wanted the free. Shepherd, trouble controlling it. It's scrappy, isn't it?
Look it out.
Look at all the players around this ball. Have a look at it. Messi.
2 sets. Dino, 2 sets. Get over. Come on. Good work, matey.
Through yourself forward. Watch out.
St Kilda needs something to happen, and they need it soon.
Line.
Ebert on the bottom of that pack.
Let it go.
Peter Sumich and John Worsfold there. Scotty Burns on the right-hand side. Inside 50, Kennedy is being held. Crowd furious. Saints Fisher out of defence to Snyder. Snyder takes a peek downfield and says, I've got to go inboard, and unable to get there on that occasion.
And he's not happy with himself, and he did give it away. Zach Dawson onto the ground, interchanges with Snyder.
Pritis. Dawson, the only player on the ground to not physically touch the ball today. Pritis Lacroix.
These are out now, the Eagles.
Rosa sees Lynch. Lynch fends his man off, protects the fall zone, and did it really well. Blake got a little nervous, a little twitchy. Lynch can kick this goal. I didn't think he went back and gave himself enough opportunity there. Further enough back from the man on the mark to wind up.
Just want to see the free kick in the crowd. There's a clear hold by Ralph Clark. Kennedy asking the question, but the umpire was on the other side, so he didn't have clear vision.
Humphrey throw in. Deep for the Eagles. Nat Nui wins the knock. Fisher somehow got it to McAvoy. Not sure whether it was legal. Goddard bullies his way through. Baker. Kaczynski under the ball. Eagles outnumber them here.
Ooh.
McKenzie out of bounds on the full.
Sam will kick. Sam's kick. Go across the line for me, Sam.
Yeah, he was lucky to get away with that one, Gwilt, Jacko, and yeah, I guess you got to take the good with the bad, but that was one that the umpire should have grabbed. And they all add up when you get away with them 50 metres out from goal.
Indeed, they do. Here's Gwilt. He'll be asked to play on by the umpire.
They pushed McAvoy forward, the Saints, and he's dragged Nick Nat-Nui with him, who I'm not sure has played too much at full back.
Play on.
Schofield just hovers on it. He could get pinged here. Ray Chamberlain says no.
Thank you.
That last kick by Lynch, he tried to kick the leather off it, but something the Eagles may need to just rejig their forward line with the conditions coming in. I've seen Bo Waters, he's gone down and kicked the goal, but someone like Ashton Hams or even Lacroix pushing deep in the forward line. They need a small number, just like St Kilda got Mill on the other end, who's quite dangerous.
Didn't make any effort at all, did he?
On the full now, Nick.
Until he realised he was on top of it. Correct decision. Here's Lynch again. Pursued by Gwilt. Can't find him on the lead.
Well, if they can sneak another one here, the West Coast, it's almost impossible to see how the Saints are going to muster the score.
Well, that'll put them 17 up. Let's say 3 goals up, and it means the Saints have got to kick 4 goals in a quarter and a bit.
They need a genuine lift out of 3 or 4 of their players. I know Snyder's on the bench. He's one that is a goal kicker that's not getting near the footy. McQualter's another one who's just got nowhere near enough ball.
That's a bounce between the 3 of them.
Well, they're gaining a lot of confidence out of this, the West Coast. I know it's not absolutely super football from either side, but the Eagles will take any win they can get anyhow.
BT, the crowd is up. They can feel it. They can sense it. And a goal here in these tight conditions will certainly bring the crowd right into.
This man will need to figure prominently if St Kilda are going to get back into this. Farron Ray around the corner, but Butler's going to send it forward bound. He goes wide to Hearn. Now if he can get a run and he can kick the goal. 52 metres out. Swung the leg too much.
Jared, something that's also working for West Coast at the moment. They're going one-on-one all over the ground, on and off the ground. Embley and Hayes, Rosa Del Sano, Scott Selwood and Montagna. They're just trying to shut down St Kilda's ball magnets at the moment. Yeah,
well, I think they've done it pretty successfully. They look to me like a bull who's just staggering, waiting for the final dagger to go in.
Gee. Cosy behind, Hearn in front, knocked down. St Kilda got some numbers. McQualter needs to be clean. He is. The run from Peake was impressive outside. He gets an escort by Snyder. He says, keep going. The forwards come at him. No one in the goal square. Peake just pops it up. I think I would have gone the low sliding ball there. In the end, the forwards came perhaps a little too early at him.
Well, they're kicking with the advantage of a pretty strong wind here, the Saints, but they have lost their dominance of inside 50s. They've gone in just 3 times, and the Eagles have gone in 9.
The Saints are almost at desperation point. They need a win so much. Rafael Clark went past the ball. Ray able to pick it up as a result. Kick was smothered. Lacroix. Hayes. Here comes McAvoy. Uncontested mark.
Nat Nui playing in defence, I reckon almost for the first time. It's a good decision and move by the coach of the Saints, because he has got exactly what he wanted, and that is McAvoy as full forward and Nat Nui at full back, or close enough too.
Good work by Milne off the ball there too. Just got his body in between Nat Nui, so good work by Milne.
McAvoy for his first goal for the year. 35 out, a relatively simple kick in normal conditions, but it is blustery here today. That's floating back. I like it. He likes it. St Kilda love it. McAvoy's got the goal they needed.
Much needed goal here, but big hit on Lacroix there. It was 1-on-3. It was a kick that came out by Butler and got him, well, got Lacroix out of it, and this was the option coming back forward.
Well, it was a great kick. It was a great kick from Lenny Hayes, and the courage of that midfield group has been tested many times. They are right under the pump, and yet they've lifted, and there's Nat Nui just not knowing where to go.
McAvoy kicks the goal and comes immediately from the ground. The Saints have kicked the last 2 here, and they are now just a goal down.
Zach Dawson in the goal square as a full forward.
And also Goddard's gone forward as well, Jared.
And that has worked for them a little bit in small segments this year, Jared, where Dawson has gone forward and been able to assist in that area.
Well, if they're throwing Goddard forward, Smithy, they are throwing everything at him right now, because they know they need to kick some goals.
Well, they've got Goddard, sorry, Smithy. Goddard, Snyder, Kazitsky, Dawson and Milne there. It's nearly their best forward 5 or 6. Kick around the corner, needs to go, did in the end. Good mark. Montagna, 55 out with the aid of the breeze to draw the scores level. Was it touched on the line? It was by a desperate Schofield.
Well, nice little bit of movement. Nice 3 minutes here by the Saints against the flow of traffic.
And led by Lenny Hayes too. He's had some important clearances.
24 touches for Lenny Hayes. The Eagles out of defence. A little rusty. McGinnity, Swift and Selwood. Del Sano got him. Forced the kick to go offline. Now Baker. Look how hard Lenny Hayes is working. Came off for a spell not long ago, Smithy, did he? Lenny Hayes, I think he's just back on the ground.
Yeah, he just comes straight back on. His work ethic when he gets back on the ground, BT, is just amazing.
He's looking over towards the bench now to see if he's getting another rest. There's Clark, Montagna,
Schneider.
Precision, wasn't it? Snyder's creative. He can see Goddard out wide. Didn't get the kick to him on the full. Now Goddard's got to give the handball off to Peake. What can Peake conjure up? Goddard again. Got the give and go. They lose ground. What a tackle that was by Waters.
Oh, look at this. Embley gets it, goes to goal.
Now can he go all the way? There's no one between he and the goal. 70 metres, 55. Oh, he's messed it up in the first 10 metres. Oh, boy. Embley, I thought was going to go all the way. Gardner.
Well, they got out of jail here, the Saints, because Embley should have gone all the way, but it's as if they knew that they were just about gone and they've lifted as one.
Cozzy did well, ball to Snyder again. He's coming to the game. Cozzy wasn't quite aware it was coming back. Shrugs one tackle. They've got him now. Opportunity for Wilkes. Rosa.
Here to kick it.
Up and down on the one spot. Selwood at the moment. McKinley did well.
Need a clearance kick here either side.
Players absolutely having a crack in there at the moment. Here's Fisher. Goddard's always dangerous in open space. He'll go for home. The skidding long ball is on target. Goddard remarkably puts the Saints in front by a point.
Well, the staggering ball's back to life, BT. He's snorting and he's saying, well, I'm not going down for the count yet. They have just turned it around in 7 minutes. It has been a phenomenal passage of play. In fact, some of the best footy they've played for a long time, or at least a month. Here's Embley just taking his eye off the footy.
Took his eye off.
And it really was a costly turnaround.
I think what's hurting him too, Nat Nui going deep, he's getting caught between where he's got to go and the contest.
Goddard makes it 3 St Kilda goals in a row, and can you believe it? They were 17 down and they're now 1 point up. The Saints digging deep. Cox, Selwood and Pritis combining for the clearance. Rafael Clark did well.
He did really well.
Really good effort from Rafael Clark, something that perhaps people have accused him of missing in his game. That was impressive.
Only they're getting some run out of defence, BT. He's been missing most of the day.
Jones just trying to be a bit cute. Milne with that evasive footwork. It was nice. Gilbert high ball. Snyder at the back. Works his man under the ball brilliantly. Snyder did well. Left foot kick around the corner. That is brilliant body work from Snyder.
Now getting a contribution from just about everybody. It's been a magnificent 7 or 8 minutes by the Saints. And Snyder looks to have been working pretty hard for the majority of the day. It just hasn't worked for him, but that time it all fell into place. Started by Raf Clark.
Well, they're all gone over to him and just said, well done on just backing back in there. That's where it started off their half back line. And you're getting run from there, Saints. So they're certainly hot here at the minute, but they're committed. Worked him under the ball.
Well, Adam Snyder's come to life. He's been involved in everything that's been forward. And Rafael Clark could even be a defining moment in his career, the way he worked back with the flight of the ball then.
Spare man in defence for the Saints. Goddard at the present time just floating by himself.
Gardner with the clearance. Inside 50. St Kilda have kicked the last 4 consecutive goals. Milne, he doesn't miss many of these. That's online, but McKenzie getting back to cut it off. And Rafael Clark, we mentioned, have a look at this.
Didn't take his eyes off it, and that's after the goal was kicked, they all went to him because they felt that's where the leadership was shown, that's where the commitment came from.
Well, it's an area of his game that has been questioned several times, and he just answered
those critics.
In a time of great need for the Saints.
Well, it's now the Eagles have got a steady, Jacko, because they really did work so well in the first 10 minutes of this quarter. They dominated it. And yet they've let the Saints back in.
Goddard to Ray. Ray at centre-half forward. Kicks a long ball, 55 out. He got plenty of it. Milne dangerous over the back.
Well, they've gone long now. They've decided to kick the ball long because they've worked out the 8 of the breeze, use it to their best advantage and kicked a couple of long goals. But what that does, it puts the direct opponents, the direct defenders of West Coast under enormous pressure.
Both ruckmen here for St Kilda. McAvoy with a swat down. Milne looking for the little give from Del Sano. He thought about trying to find a hole through there, and he said no, it was a brick wall. Butler.
If the first throw was paid as a free kick, do you think we'd have a lot less scrums?
Probably, Jared. Because in tight, they practice it at training, and I dare say if you looked at it forensically, there's probably not a lot of contact with a lot of handballs, but they are so good at disguising it.
2 out of 2 for Raf this time. He marks it.
Just having a really good patch, and the Saints looking knackered as a result. Have a look at the amount of them not running at the moment. They are just out on their legs.
And just starting to look top heavy in their forward half, West Coast. They've got Kennedy, Lynch and Ben McKinlay. They're not really having an impact in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, what have they got, the Eagles? They need to respond here at the moment. St Kilda in the last 10 minutes, all over the top of them. And another opportunity. Milne is very clever at ground level. Gets rid of Butler. Juggles the ball. Butler did well on that occasion. Pritis. Almost a throw. Looked throwish at first glimpse.
Line.
Certainly looked like he threw it up in the air, but we're a long way away. Let's have another look. Yep. That is a throw.
Let's do. By giving him the benefit of the doubt. We needed a second look at it. St Kilda forward into the ground.
It's another one.
High tackle!
But he got the high tackle.
Let it go! Let it go!
So he got away with it.
Wilkes. Here's McKinley, who's dried up as a result of not much forward action for him. Inside 50s, 36-26 in favour of the Saints. They'll be happy with the force of the turnover here. Dalsano, degree of difficulty on the kick was hard. Milne keeps his feet. His opponent, McKenzie, goes to the ground. Left foot around the corner. Milne.
And Adam Snyder is fuming.
Filthy.
Just tried to do a little bit too much there, Stephen Milne.
So 2:21 in the quarter remaining. The Saints by 9 points. Remember, West Coast coming home with a pretty fierce breeze. Not that it's significantly helped either side today.
Fly on!
Hearn,
Great kick.
creative and low
On 50, Brendan!
blast of the ball in Selwood's direction.
Load on, Adam! Fly on!
Selwood just going to kick it down the line. Cox is there. In front, Schofield, off hands, Embley. A little slow. Hayes just burrowing through. He got a high tackle.
That's because of his commitment. He's in everything, Lenny Hayes. He certainly was the instigator for their little run here. They've kicked the last 4 goals, but he was the one that stood up and started to win some crucial ball and crucial clearance for his side.
8 touches in the quarter.
He has been incredibly impressive, and Goddard has taken a one-hander.
That's his body contact, Adam. You both engaged each other.
Umpire Margetts explaining to Adam Selwood. Selwood thought he was unfairly dealt with, but just body contact and a good call by the umpire. They both had a piece of each other. Goddard. To make it a 15-point lead when you consider 20 minutes ago it was a 17-point lead with the Eagles. Goddard comes in, misses.
Didn't allow the right to left.
Case of not knowing the ground, wasn't it, in that instance?
Just 1 metre. Thank you.
So they're just holding on here, Jacko. Do you think the Eagles, are they happy to go in with this 10-point deficit, given they've got the wind, or are they actually going to attempt to kick a goal?
Well, they can come in and reassess. They need to do that, but if they think the wind's going to do it for them, well, they'll lose this game because they were demonstrated by the opposition. With work rate has to be the first priority coming at three-quarter time.
The old work rate, I'll tell you what, it's going to work for St Kilda here because Goddard goes forward. That wind, I reckon, last 5 or 6 minutes has turned where it's almost pushing across the ground and not favouring each end. So West Coast may be a little peeved about that.
And they've used it to their credit, St Kilda, to their advantage by playing simple footy, long, direct, kick the ball long to the square and try and catch West Coast defenders under pressure.
They're under enormous pressure. Here's Hayes.
There he is again.
Left foot dribble along the ground. How good is that? Lenny Hayes.
Well, if you see then John Morsfeld with 35 seconds to go to three-quarter time, you just got to cover all the exits. That man, we've spoken volumes about him. It's up to 9 possessions, but he's in there just presenting. And there's the opportunity kick to goal, much needed. One that they didn't probably expect to get, but it's a 5-goal quarter for them, considering they kicked 4 for a half. We asked at half-time where their goals were going to come from. Well, they've kicked 5 in that third quarter.
BT, we're seeing one of the great performances by an individual here. Lenny Hayes has almost single-handedly lifted this group up about 12 minutes ago and said, we're not done with yet. This is how to do it. Follow me, and they have. And not only that, he's just capped it off with a brilliant goal himself.
10 touches and a goal in the quarter for Lenny Hayes. Outstanding. The spread of goals in this quarter. 5 different players kicking goals. As we asked the question at half-time, where would they come from? It's unlikely one individual is going to get it done.
And it seems like we draw back to that Andrew Embley moment. He looked like he had a certain shot on goal, and they go the length of the ground, and from there, that's where their dominance started to St Kilda.
Kilda players now pointing behind the play and saying, for Fisher, who's right off the ball here, he's too far back. They want him to come up more. Goddard now drops off and drops into the spot. And here he is. Goddard and Rafael Clark. Wilt now. And there'll be no further goals in this quarter. There's Hearn keeping it alive, but she's all too late. As Swift will go inside 50, siren will sound. Very good quarter for St Kilda. 5-goal to 2-quarter after the West Coast led it by 17 points at the 6-minute mark. It's a 16-point St Kilda lead. 9-11-65 to 7-7-49.
But they got Rosa, who's chasing Del Sano, and Nat Nui. If he doesn't get the clearance, then he just doesn't win enough ball through the middle of the ground to have a great influence.
Start of the last quarter, St Kilda by 16, and Del Sano gets the first clearance around the corner. Ozzy and Selwood going at it. Might have been Wilkes, in fact, it was. Here's Snyder, clobbered in the tackle.
Oh, he's making a genuine.
And that'll be a ball up centre forward for St Kilda, kicking against the breeze in this last term.
Well, they'll be wanting to get the first goal, St Kilda, here, really put the pressure on West Coast and just continue that momentum they had leading into three-quarter time.
Get the feeling if they do get the first one, it's going to be a really difficult uphill battle for the West Coast to hunt them down from there. Probably not capable of that at this stage. So
at the moment, Lenny Hayes' direct opponent is Nick Naitanui.
Rosa, you like that, Jared?
Oh, I don't like it at all. I think it's fine around a stoppage if Naitanui goes up third man. But outside of that, Lenny Hayes, who has been in red hot form, he's the one I think that should be getting tagged.
There's Pritis from Naitanui, kept it rolling forward. Kennedy. When in doubt, try the soccer.
Line, straight up, Stephen.
And the issue with Nick Naitanui is we know he's good when the game stops. He can go, he can jump. He's not too bad in the goal square if the ball comes his way, but he doesn't get any uncontested possession. He doesn't get in and link up. So they may be seeing themselves as a man short in midfield. He's only had one kick.
Good work by Bo Wilkes there. He's going to get penalised for it. He's going to get penalised.
Oh, you must make an attempt.
Showing the greater commitment now.
Snyder to McAvoy, and a free kick going McAvoy's way for the hole.
Had the arm underneath his waist as they were both going to the contest here. As we see here, Bo Wilkes, he came off it here. A bit tough there because I think the St Kilda player held it in.
Been able to creep a few yards on the mark too. The umpire didn't bring him back. McKenzie immediately went into dialogue with him, and the umpire forgot about it as McAvoy now comes in and kicks the goal, and that's very, very nice. The Saints by 22. McAvoy's got a couple.
Good conversion by the big fellow. He's been pretty handy up forward. Now, as you say, Brian, he's kicked a couple. And he's playing in front, which is going to drag him more free kicks than if he's trying to play from behind. And a little bit of an eye gouge on the way through.
So McAvoy finishing it off very, very nicely as well. Kicks the goal, got his second. That's 6 St Kilda goals in a row. Nice job from Ben McAvoy. In the absence of Stephen King, has done a reasonable job here today. There's that centre set up. See Cox, the ruckman, Naitanui, effectively the ruck rover in this situation, and he's not a clearance player, so you do wonder why. Pritis, Cox, stand and blast it forward inside 50, first time in the quarter for West Coast. Gilbert went to ground. Naitanui out of trouble, got rid of it. Hayes was there. Kicks back straight to Cox, should have held the mark. Gardner, if he can release, they're out here.
Big ball.
Snyder now needs to be precise. He is. Cozzy with the mark. Milne's coming into the pocket. That's where it's going. Peak a little too heavy on the ball. Needed to stick it out in front of Milne.
Massive ball in the middle of the ground.
Just have a look at one end of the ground. We saw McAvoy get a free kick. Same sort of hold there.
You're not trying to compare decisions at either end of the
that's
ground.
the same. They had the arms around the waist.
There's Lenny Hayes going to run into the open goal. The pressure was good at the end, forcing the miss.
Brian, we asked him some consistency in both occasions on that inside 52 umpires in there.
Thought they've been very good today, the umpires. That is a long bow to draw.
Well, the free kicks were simultaneously within a minute of each other. One is given, one isn't. Both in front of goal.
I'm hearing a half upset Eagle here.
I just asked for consistency, Brian.
This is a big kick. This is a great kick.
That is a Hearn. Little low buzzer.
Kennedy.
Travelling 55. Wilkes. Selwood. Lacra's got to get it on the hop instead of on the chest. As well to keep it alive. Kennedy goes back into the Gwilt territory. And that's an all-consuming tackle.
Still fumbled it though, Mark Lacra. He's well off his best at the present time, and he's maybe just lost the plot a little bit. He's given away a free kick, I think.
Yes.
And he's looking for body contact all the time. That's not often there. He's frustrated. Get him into the middle of the ground, Jacko. Give him a run. Free him up a bit.
I'm with you. You've got to get him out of there.
Gardner on his former home turf. And reasonable today. Just the 8 possessions for him, but done a lot of the ruck work. Here's McQualter. Snyder was being held there by hands. Nothing on. There's the evener for you, Jacko. Swift now. Embley. Waters. McKenzie and Embley. Embley's got to thread the needle. He does to Prudis. They just have to go, the Eagles. Kennedy presents, and for one of the rare times today, marks in front of Gwilt.
Got Butler on this outer side.
That's where he comes.
He's going to try and get Hearn into play here.
Butler, the little chip kick is good. Selwood marks.
He's worked hard today, Adam Selwood. He's been a very consistent player for the Eagles right throughout the season. And again, producing a pretty fair effort today.
This has to be a goal for the Eagles. Adam Selwood will know exactly that this ball will work from the right goalpost back to the left. With that pretty strong breeze. In he comes. A must convert for the West Coast Eagles. Selwood comes in and just draws it back beautifully. That is a nicely worked goal from Selwood. And there's some chance the Eagles.
It was a good transfer of play by Kennedy. Saw Sam Butler on this outer side, who just was able to get free of his direct opponent, which has been Milne in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Lifted his vision straight away. Had Hearn on the right-hand side. Possibly could have used him to draw the long kick, but reward the hard work by Adam Selwood, who's been a very good player. For me, the best for West Coast. 28 possessions, 2 goals, but that was the all-important response to the first goal of the Saints. Now they need to get back-to-back goals.
Big time, not an issue at the moment.
Well, they've got Naitanui now into the ruck. He's only had 3 possessions since half-time, but he can have a big influence. As we know, when he gets hot, there's few players who can stop him.
Cox for a spell. Important couple of minutes here. How long, Smithy, will Cox spend on the bench, do you think?
Oh, look, I think you can only afford to have a couple of minutes rest. They've got to get him out there. He was the most dominant player on the ground last week against Melbourne, so maybe push Nick Nat forward, get Dean Cox back in the ruck.
There he is. Ready to go shortly. Rosa around the corner.
Great tap from Naitanui.
Fisher caught on the tackle. Gilbert did well. Ray and now Rafael Clark has been really good today. Handball to Peak, who's under some pressure. Now Blake. Gardner. Wrong-footed Naitanui. Talked Naitanui into believing it was coming long, and then all of a sudden went with the short.
Brett Peake's been pretty good for the Saints as well, B2. He's had to go back and learn the craft in the VFL, the way that Ross Lyon would like him to spread, etc., from stoppages. He's lifted here in his old home done.
Hayes in the tackle. Hams wanted to keep it moving out the back, and McQualter was really solid in and under. Ebert didn't have much idea where he's going, but it worked for him. Lacroix handballed straight to Blake. Saw the oncoming traffic. Aaron Ray now to Montagna. Montagna's got Milne if he wants, or long to Kazetsky. He goes the long option. Cozzy strong overhead, couldn't off the mark. Milne off the ground. Shannon Hearn with a kick that needs to find some action. It's very good.
He has been lethal with that kick out.
He has. Really impressive. So the Eagles down by 17 with 14 minutes remaining. Knocked to the wing, knocked away from Waters by Fisher.
Look at the numbers difference. There's 2-3 there. Saints in front. Well done, the Eagles. They won the contest.
Get the feeling they're having one last crack here at the moment, the Eagles. Kennedy's kick was smothered. Now Prentice. Hams couldn't quite get an edge on it. Rafale Clark. Players will be happy with the stoppage here.
West Coast will win this game. When they do clear any clearance through the middle of the ground or the half-back line, they've got to make sure they don't kick to an area where they're outnumbered, because they're playing into St Kilda's hands, and that's how they got on top of them in the third quarter. And in the early stages here, on a couple of occasions when they've gone forward, they've kicked to a 1-on-2 or a 2-on-3 situation. They can't afford to do that, West Coast.
Matt Nui, lucky not to infringe there. There's Embley.
Lacroix gone forward.
Lacroix. Just a little too heavy for him.
Yeah, I think you're being kind. He had two hands on that. He's had a pretty average day, and he needs to find 10 minutes of good form. Maybe the difference between them winning and losing.
But Jared, he did that well, and he went up into the midfield and didn't just snuck forward, just lost Ref Clark.
He did, but he's got to get hold of his chances.
There is again giving a ball to Ebert, who was besieged by St Kilda defenders.
Since half-time, it's been 56-33 contested footy in favour of the Saints.
Well, that's a good sign for them, Jared, because that's something they need back in their game.
Yeah, there's been some. I mean, they didn't play too badly last week, BT, against Essendon. They did everything reasonably well, except their conversion rate. But they've produced 10-15 minutes of their very best here today to give themselves a real chance.
Not clean there, Embley and Kennedy.
A couple of times he hasn't been clean, BT. And,
no one's tackling them.
He had the 2-week suspension.
Tackle there.
So just a bit rusty, Andrew Embley.
You've got to tackle them. You can't jump on the ball and get a free.
Unusual sort of advice. Prudis wrapped up in a Jones tackle. Managed to somehow work his hands free and get rid of it in the end. Now Lacroix. Hayes swoops. Rafale Clark kept it rolling. Really impressive play that from the Saints. McKenzie. Just a relief here for Hearn now. Hearn's good by foot. We know that. Here's Butler. Got a paddock to work in. Can straighten, and he's got Bo Waters on if he wants. Took a while gathering it, so he brings it inside to Lynch. Lynch marks. 70 out. Goes long and low. Good ball, McKinley. He's kicked 4 in the game. This to give the Eagles a real chance.
Well, he kicked it to the perfect spot, whether by good fortune or design, I'm not entirely sure, but there was no lead there, but he kicked it there. Looked as if it was just off the inside. McKinley read it best. They were all heading out to the other side of the ground, the fat side, but McKinley snuck around the back.
For his 5th goal, but more importantly,
can't afford to miss that.
Missed. Well, he has got the kicking yips.
Yeah, he has no certainty to kick anything unless it's on a 99-degree angle.
No wonder he's wanting to play on. Boy, oh boy. As you can see, Goddard selecting the balls from behind the goal there, Jared. That's because some are in good shape and some aren't.
I hope he hasn't got a shabby one.
He knows.
Very critical to Sharon.
So, Brian, after 3 and a bit quarters, you reckon they still haven't taken shape the balls?
And that was out of bounds on the full, I thought.
That is unbelievable.
The mark has been paid to McAvoy. West Coast fans really have lifted their bottoms out of their seats in protest.
Well, there's a boundary umpire about 8 metres away. Oh, they're out here, the Saints.
Del Santo. First part is good. McQualter.
Milne on the outer side.
And that's where he goes, Glenn. Milne marks on 50. He will play on. Not on this occasion. So Milne's going to go back and see what he can do. The boos continue for the boundary umpire. Milne gives it off. Goddard. Gilbert pops it up. Here comes Cozzy over the back. Farron Ray with a tap. Didn't quite work for him. Now Lacroix. Selwood wide. Nothing on down that line, so all he can do is kick it in hope, and Kennedy was always caught behind.
Well, that's a win for West Coast, 1 on 3. Just had to punch the ball out. As we see, the ball has gone out. It's out by a metre.
Well, that runner might have just got in the way of the boundary umpire. Did you see that? No, come on.
The ball's in the air, VT.
Well, I hope he did.
I reckon he did.
Because if he didn't, there's a problem with that umpire's eyesight.
Might show it again here, because I thought the boundary umpire just got in the way.
Look how high the ball is. Look how high the ball is. If he can't see that, Brian.
Oh,
I'm with Jared.
It's all about angles from there. I'm not sure.
Well, Rowan Smith was looking straight down the line. Smithy, what was your decision?
100% out. Jared, definitely.
You guys have been against me all day today. Smithy, you did that story on the footies with me, and being out of shape, you have jumped off really quick. Here's Milne. Schofield. Milne trying to poke a little handball through. Eagles know that if the Saints kick a goal, it's all over for them. Free kick, McQualter.
It's giving Kicking in danger here.
I'm not sure what Will Schofield was doing there.
I always thought it was kicking with intent to hurt was the...
that is...
Gee, that's not... Kicking in danger is the old schoolboy thing. The mark in front is really, really strong from Farron Ray.
Well, it's a good mark from Farron Ray and an opportunity to make life very, very difficult for the Eagles.
Farron Ray, with just under 10 minutes remaining, has an opportunity to put it beyond the Eagles. 30 metres out directly in front, blood rule. Hearn will come from the ground, or
Scott Selwood.
Scott Selwood.
Both of them.
And we'll wait for these players to be replaced, which will just make Farron Ray think about this kick a little more.
We've got to get Hearn back on, because his kicking ability can't be replaced.
Well, this for a 22-point lead. Farron Ray. St Kilda looking for their 6th win of the year. Ray comes in and gets the goal. He knows the importance of it.
Great conversion there by Farron Ray. Just interested, Jacko, in Schofield's effort.
He just got caught behind Cozzy's big body there. I mean, no, I'm with you, but...
No, not on that occasion. It was more midfield. We'll have another look at it shortly.
McQualter getting it in. And Farron Ray, good mark in front of the pack. And textbook finish for him. St Kilda by 22 points in front of a crowd of 36,244 here today. Under with the right knock. Keeping it alive here, Schofield. Didn't take possession. Lacroix, Rosa combining now with Wilkes. Goes for the low kick to the lead up of Selwood. He tried to get the handball off, and he'll earn himself a free. Adam Selwood.
And Jared, Nat Nui's been moved to full forward as we speak.
Well, I think it's a good move. We've seen him have minutes where he just unleashes incredible talent.
He's leading for that ball there, and the ball's fair income 2 kicks away.
Yeah, I think we still don't take into consideration just how little footy this kid has played, and the more simple they can make it for him, the better. The goal square is simple. The centre bounce is simple if he's the ruckman, but anything in the middle, life's still pretty difficult.
See, off the ball, they were doing everything to stop his run at the ball then. They know he's dangerous if he can get a leap. Everything to stop his run at the ball.
Well, he said a little footy how much he's played. 19th appearance in the AFL for Nat Nui. So
yeah, in the AFL, but when you add up the amount of games he's played.
But at this level, just understanding what the game's all about for him. He's a work in progress. There's no doubting that.
There's Del Sano. Wide to the contest there. We'll see it thrown back into play again. As Goddard comes off in front of you, Rowan Smith there. He looked like he'd spent it all.
Yeah. Well, most of the St Kilda players, BT, are nearly out on their feet here. They've just got to hang on.
Embley goes with a low spiral. Not sure it's deliberate, but Fisher snatched it.
That's what's hurt him, that loose man dropping back with a long kick. They try to emulate what St Kilda done in the third quarter. Go long and direct and hope for the wind and will help him. But St Kilda were calculated going to their forward line with good pressure and good numbers.
This plays into the St Kilda hands. They're happy to work the ball around half-back and through the midfield because they can chew valuable time off the clock.
Not only that, Brian, they take the momentum out of the game for West Coast, who are trying to establish something in this last quarter. They needed to get back-to-back goals. McKinley had the chance.
Gilbert. Chipping kick to Ray.
Well, Lenny just wouldn't believe his luck. He's running around by himself. Most times he has to scrap it out with a very tight tagger.
Montaigne's been paid the mark. West Coast boys thought it was out of bounds, so they
stopped, didn't they?
Yep. Montagne looked a little in disbelief as well. There's a nice front and centre by that man you speak of. Look at his steps. Lenny. Gardner.
Over the back here.
The long shot at goal to finish it off on his former home ground. Gardner kicks the goal. 28-point lead to St Kilda.
Well, we saw Lenny Hayes out the back. Was this out of bounds? No, Mark got it right that occasion. But the good work from Lenny Hayes. I mean, he got the ball in the back line, switched, transferred a play, and then he tracked the ball. He just followed it with his work rate, and he ends up kicking it to Michael Gardner with precision. Big long kick. Welcome return from Michael Gardner. He's had a pretty even day with Dean Cox, 9 possessions, and he's kicked a goal.
Well, St Kilda have kicked 8 of the last 9 goals in this contest. So you'd say they deserve their 28-point lead. The Saints stop the run of losses and will face up to Adelaide and Richmond over the next couple of weeks. So this gives them a chance to regain their momentum.
Well, this time they put Lacroix in for a centre bounce, but Del Sano has been one of their finest.
Good kick, and that's the way to mark the ball out in front. Stanley did then, and Del Sano, the finisher from 50. That's just lovely, isn't it?
That's brilliant.
Well done, Stanley.
Oh, just see the good work. But he followed his football after the kick. Just following the football. Gets himself in the right position. Well, he was an All-Australian last year. He certainly built on his game today here. 27 possessions, but that's a nice goal for a good day's work for the Nick Del Sano.
Del Sano organising the structure in the middle of the ground. And the Saints have broken the shackles here. And somehow conjured up 13 goals. Gardner. Brett Peake. Back into the St Kilda lineup today as Armitage and Graham went out. Here's Snyder. McGinnity trailing. Peake an opportunity. Milne wanted it. He was disappointed in Peake's effort. Embley.
Just been incapable of kicking a goal in this last quarter and a half. They've kicked 1 in the run of 9 goals for the Saints.
Yep, they have. Their only goal in that run of 9 was the 7-minute mark of this last quarter.
3 for the second half for West Coast, which pretty disappointing after a solid first half. They certainly came in with a 6-point lead. So a good tackle there. And young Shepherd has been a player that's certainly improved as a young player coming through. His 14 possessions showed some really good signs, and it's a future of the football club.
Really impressed with the Rafael Clark's work today. He's earned a lot of respect with his effort today. There's Snyder.
He's really lifted BT in the second half.
He was instrumental in that third quarter drive, wasn't he, of those 5 successive goals. I think he just about had a hand in 4 of them at least.
Kicked a couple himself, and as you said, been involved in a number of others. But they just needed extra players around the footy to start winning some ball. And Snyder had really struggled early in the game. Has done what's one of the more difficult things in footy, and that's to turn around a poor first half into a really good second half.
McKenzie out wide, and you just think that West Coast are probably feeling they can't get home from here now. 5 minutes left in the game. They're down by 34. And St Kilda very impressive in the second half here today. They only kicked 4 goals up to half-time, St Kilda. 2 of those from Milne.
I think the coaching panel will be bewildered, though, Jacko.
Yeah.
I mean, St Kilda's got fantastic players around the footy. And yet they were able to compete with them for a long period of time. And then when it just broke completely.
Well, I know they were very confident about this game, given just the status quo of both the sides where they're at. West Coast off 2 wins, and St Kilda, much publicised last month, been pretty disappointing. And they certainly had them where they wanted them at half-time, but didn't go on with the job after that.
Well, they did for 10 minutes after half-time. They had them on the ropes.
They kicked the first 2 goals.
Yeah,
got out to a 17-point lead.
Yep, they were 17 up, but that was at about the 6-minute mark. Gardner comes for a spell. And as we see Hine
very close to the man on
lining up, but didn't quite get the journey in the end, or it floated through, but it was sort of escorted by the Eagles.
I think it was their inability to absorb the pressure once St Kilda made that decision, led by Lenny Hayes. Their work rate, the intensity they lifted, and they were able to score 4 unanswered goals in that period. And West Coast seem to have lost a little bit of structure from there. And then in this last quarter, they've been outscored against a strong breeze that's picked up. St Kilda look like they're kicking with the breeze. And we spoke about it at 3/4 time. The breeze wasn't going to do the work for them. It was their mindset and their work rate.
Beautiful kick by Goddard to Kazitsky, and should go back. He could wind up and have a crack from there, Cozzy. Man on the mark, right on the 50-metre line. Kazitsky, a high ball to the square. Cox is there, and he'll have a free kick as a result of that. Crowd saying, about time. Don't know whether I agree with them.
He's going to get better as the game goes on.
Oh, Clark.
Amazing what a bit of confidence does.
18 possessions today. 6 marks.
A couple of crucial ones too.
Yep.
That third quarter.
Very, very impressive. Just looking through the stats here today, just only one player that hasn't actually, I don't think he's actually touched the ball. And that is Zach Dawson. He's been on and off the ground, been deep a lot of the time. Farron Ray. 2.5 remaining, and the crowd just starting to file out of the terraces here now. They came today in hope of a 3rd consecutive win from the West Coast after a disastrous 5 losses from their first 6 games. They play Carlton next week, who went down today to a revitalised Hawthorn, and that's at Etihad Stadium. And then have got the reigning premiers here at Subi. Goddard eating some clock here. Nice to move it on, and wide out there looking for the big boy McAvoy. How has you seen his efforts today, Jacko, McAvoy?
I reckon he's certainly presented. He's kicked 2 goals. I reckon he's done a good assistance role, 11 possessions, and he'll certainly take a lot away from that, especially big guy coming in.
There's the run for St Kilda the next month ahead. Adelaide, Richmond, Fremantle and Geelong. So a couple of possibilities in there, or in fact they're all possibilities when you're talking a team of St Kilda's strength. Here's Dawson with his first touch of the day, coming 1.5 minutes left in the last.
Might just look back, BT, and say this is the pivotal 50 minutes of St Kilda's footy season, because they were playing nothing like the St Kilda that we know and have seen over the last 18 months under Ross Lyon, and yet something happened about 10 minutes into that third quarter, and I think his name's Lenny Hayes, that just has triggered an amazing response.
He was superb in that crunch time, because they were looking like being rolled over at that time, and Lenny Hayes was the one that really stepped forward and said, no, not going to let it go. And it was his resolve, Gerard, you're quite right.
They lifted with him, but it took someone to spark, and it seemed to me it was Lenny Hayes when it really did appear as if they were facing a season's crisis, and he just responded. Del Sano responded, Snyder responded. I think both ruckmen really lifted. Goddard, that brilliant goal he kicked in the third quarter, I think really helped him fire, and Fisher, of course, across the half-back line. But it's been a couple of their lesser lights, like Raf Clark. And Gwilt was getting stitched up early, but he also has had a pretty good last 40 minutes.
Farron Ray been impressive today.
2 in a row for him.
Here is the big boy McAvoy.
One of the other areas they've done well, I mean, Matt Priddis has had 34 possessions, but he's only had the 5 kicks, and I think Jones has curtailed his influence forward of the centre, because he's very much a playmaker and has been that playmaker the last couple of weeks.
Siren sound, St Kilda have won by 35 points today to get their season back on track. Impressive stuff. They were challenged by the West Coast, who finished with a score 88-56 to St Kilda 13-13, 91. Michael Gardner catching up with some old friends. And let's go down to Rowan Smith with Lenny Hayes.
Thanks, BT. Well, Lenny, a good bounce-back win, mate.
Yeah, it was, Rowan. We really needed it. You know, we've been battling away the last couple of weeks, and thought we improved a little bit last week, but just didn't quite get there. So it was a tough win. We had to grind it out, but I thought the way we stuck at it was really pleasing.
You were mentioning a battle there. It was a battle in the first half, wasn't it? And you looked like a totally different team after half-time. What did Ross say to you at half-time?
Yeah, look, we thought we were getting enough of the ball. We just probably weren't going deep enough, and we started to straighten up and use our legs a little bit more, and we put a bit of goal square